Welcome back to the Theory Expo, where we're here to talk about Marvel Studios Episode 2 of Secret Invasion titled Promises. Episode 1 was a blend of fast-moving action, but really a slow burn that was basically set up to let us know that 1, the Skrulls were a threat, and 2, and more importantly, this version of Nick Fury is not up for the job. The episode begins with a recap of the Captain Marvel movie from 1995 in the MCU timeline. Then we fast forward to 1997 in an abandoned space in London where Nick Fury first meets Navarro and a young Gravik. Then Fury and Talos begins to recruit and make a deal with the Skrulls in the room. Help me protect the planet. Carol Danvers and I will find you a home. The Skrulls begin to volunteer. We pan to a seemingly angry, frightened, detached Gravik. Now, based on some of the later conversations, we can tell it wasn't all love when Captain Marvel and the Skrulls pulled up to different planets to live on when we last left them at the end of her movie. It could have been the Kree as the intergalactic antagonist, or the Skrulls probably showed up plotting a takeover. Your break's over. We don't know, but hope we'll see. We also need to know what's going on with Carol in this storyline. Moving on. We come back to the now, wherever now actually is in the MCU timeline. And this is right after the bombing and where Maria Hill's fallen. Talos in a different human form gets Fury in a van and they flee the scene. We're then on a train with Fury and Talos, and Fury tries these mind misdirects with a mind game called Tell Me Something I Don't Know. Fury then tells this Jim Crow story where him and his mother would take long train rides where they had to sit in the back, they had no AC, they had to bring their own food, even try to sweeten up the story with this little tale about him and his little girl playing doctor or house behind the bar. Then he gets tough and demands that Talos tells him something that he doesn't know. And we find out because they couldn't find a planet where the Skrulls were welcome without a fight, there are now over 1 million Skrulls on Earth. Talos even lets us know that Fury has been gone for years, which begs the question, are we many years post-blip? Are they baking in their 5-year blip time in the many years? Because that kind of wasn't Fury's fault. Or was that actually even Fury that got blipped? Now after Fury deals with his mini panic attack after hearing about the 1 million Skrulls, he gets to London and sees the transfer of Hill's body. Nick has to have an uncomfortable conversation with Maria's mother. Like most times when Fury speaks in this show, no conversation is in his favor. We then see news coverage of the Russia bombing with comments from NATO, UK Prime Minister, and American news hosts. The next time we see these three, we find out they're Skrulls and are in fact members of the Skrull Council. Gravik muscles his way into this meeting and gives a Loki type speech about how humans are worthless and they destroy themselves anyway, so what's the harm in what he's doing? He then strong arms his way to become the leader of this council, and he's also smug AF. Like he should have been Skrull Aaron Rodgers. Lastly, the Indian rep Skrull he lets go actually calls Talos and fills him in on what's going on. Now just to add, my favorite Gravik is he's going to be a Skrull like Killmonger in quotations, with none of the nuance, charisma, or depth that Killmonger actually brought. I'm sure we'll get an episode with a backstory on why he's willing to decimate the human race, why he's so angry, why he is willing to do what he does. I just hope it pays off. We then have a sneaky little scene. Gaia follows Gravik into the compound as he gets to Luke and Han yabbing for treatment in New Hope. She finds what may be the real weapon of the show. She stumbles across some scientists in a database what looks like they're attempting to manipulate DNA. We then see profiles for Groot, the Frost Giants, Beast from the Jotunheim and Thor, Extremis from Iron Man 3, and the Beast that got his arm chopped off by Wong in Infinity War. I remember in the cartoon Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they had super Skrullish characters that basically had Marvel hero parts like Wolverine arms and claws, Johnny Torch's fire, the Thing's arms, and they had one had Mr. Fantastic's stretching ability, etc. So we'll see what they're going to do with this, but that's what I'm thinking is it looking like, because they're taking the DNA or they're manipulating DNA, that it will be some form of that when we get to some maybe final battle or penultimate battle, we'll see the different Skrulls with different abilities like that. I think in even one of the trailers we saw that Gravik had that group arm ability, or that group tree branch type skills, so we'll see. We next move on to Krabby Rhodey in all his splendor. He's meeting with the UN, who we now know have Skrulls, over the Russia bombing because an American terrorist group has been identified, and also because it's known that Fury was there. Fury calls Rhodey and they meet at an empty bar in London. They begin to have this sonage competition with each other, and Fury again talking in a way we've never seen him talk before. He basically resorting to like a hook a brother up ordeal. Rhodey is with none of that. In fact, he wants all the smoke. Fury tells Rhodey there's a Skrull invasion on his way. Rhodey knows about the Skrulls, but really he's there to only fire Fury. But let's put a little bookmark or something, because Rhodey actually calls Fury Nick. And we found out in the Captain Marvel movie, no one calls him Nick. Everyone calls him Fury. That's actually how he found out that Talos was a Skrull, during their scene in that movie. So just put a little pin in that, see if that pays off. But to be honest, right now I'm not even knowing. I kind of think Rhodey's a Skrull, but I'm not even knowing if this is the real Nick right now. But we about to move on. We now meet up with Sonya at a Russian barbershop / Skrull safe house. She has a torture technique that can be used on Skrulls, which means she had to really be working on that, considering they can't even be impacted by radiation. The Skrull reveals the plan about enhanced Skrulls. Graphics team then shows up at the shop, puts in work, grabs homeboy, but Sonya had already escaped. We even pan to the side a little bit and we see Gaia making a sneaky phone call. They all get in the car, they drive off, they pull over to the side of the road, and then they leave the gun, take the cannoli on the torture Skrull. Lastly, we pull up on Fury walking into a home where a Skrull was in the kitchen, who then changes into a woman. We got Otis Redding playing in the back. She then asks him, "Aren't you forgetting something?" He grabs his wedding ring, they smooch and embrace, and then scene. And that's how the show ends. The last thing I'm gonna say, in my heart of hearts, I don't think this is Fury. I really do think it's a Skrull, but I don't have the courage. I don't got the stones to proclaim it. So we'll see what happens with episode 3.